Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the Jason Rice Show's Best of the Web. So there was something that was on the web this week that I think it may be the best thing that has been on the web in quite some time. And that was this debate between Dave Smith and Chris Cuomo on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. Now, I don't care where you are on the vaccine versus no vaccine. That's not the point of this. That's not why I'm showing it to you. I'm not trying to stir up dissension. That's not what the Jason Wright Show does. And that's not what I'm doing at all. The reason why I'm bringing this to you is because I also saw another article, or not another article, but something else that came to my attention this week, which was this headline that the UK Daily Mail put out about government officials now saying that ultra-processed foods may not cause obesity. And it's just whenever you think that the media can't dig themselves into a bigger hole, they pick up a bigger shovel. They go from the shovel to the backhoe. They go to the full excavator. They go to just these massive earth movers to just dig this deeper and deeper hole. And so my suggestion to everyone within an earshot of my voice at this moment is please educate yourself. Please, please, please do your own reading. Speak to people that you actually live near, that you can talk to, that you know their motives, that you know who they are and they know you, that you can be honest and have honest conversations with. Because you cannot depend on the mass media to get you any form of truth. And as it relates to the pandemic, and God bless Chris Cuomo for actually having the guts to come on and debate Dave Smith, because he is the only member of, especially like CNN has become kind of like the banner, the flag carrier for big government control, anything anti-America, tradition, liberty, whatever. They have become kind of that's the banner that's the mantle that they assume. I mean, okay, so be it. It's fine. And Chris Cuomo was a major player there. If you remember during the pandemic, it was Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo doing the handoff. And generally it would include some shaming of people who were coming up with crazy notions like, I don't know, exercise more, get fresh air, eat well. Before you go get a novel and new vaccine put in your system, make sure that you really do need it based on health statistics. Do some research and look at the numbers, and they would shame people that made the argument that you're vaccinated and so therefore you consider yourself safe from the virus, yet you're accusing me of getting you, the vaccinated, sick. It just all this shaming. There was a lot of Americans that were shamed. It went through a lot of destruction in this country as a result of this whole period we all lived through. Well, Chris Cuomo, who was right at front and center with his giant Q-tip on CNN, joking around with his brother, the governor at the time, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, he came on Patrick Bet-David's podcast and debated Dave Smith on this topic. And I want to play for you. If you're listening on the podcast, then you're going to hear this audio. You can go back and look. It's like a 3-hour debate, and it's fantastic. And it's a little galling. It makes you angry because you just see how entrenched and arrogant that the people like Chris Cuomo are. They just cannot. I mean, I'm pretty sure the clip that I've got for you is going to be one where they actually bring up Chris Cuomo on air, shaming people with Don Lemon after he sits there and tries to say that, no, he never did that. They bring up the whole Rogan issue. If you remember, Joe Rogan was one of the guys that talked about ivermectin, and he was accused of taking horse dewormer. And if you know anything about ivermectin, it's used as dewormer, but it's also it's the guy who created it won a Nobel Prize, and he was one of the leading researchers on this stuff. And I don't know, we all know. I mean, it's almost like we've all got a little bit of PTSD over this, but I thought, as far as best of the web goes, there wasn't much better out on the web than this exchange between Dave Smith and Andrew Cuomo. So let's just have a listen to how that went, and kudos and all the credit in the world to Patrick Bet-David and his podcast for making this happen. And anyway, I'll actually put a link to the entire debate in the show notes, because one, I want to give credit where credit's due to Valuetainment, who did this, but also if you want to check it out, there's just a lot of good information. And the thing is, one of the things that Dave brings up is why everyone's so angry now, the people that lost businesses, that maybe had a child or a loved one commit suicide, that remember what it was like not getting to be with their loved one in those last moments because of all the draconian lockdowns and all those things that occurred during this time. For all, he says, the reason why we're so angry is because all we get is you, Chris. There's a lot of people that played a part in this, and you're the only one. You're all we've got, Chris Cuomo. And I think he meant that as kind of a, hey, I'm sorry to say that, but it's kind of a shame that you're the only one. And let's just be honest, Chris Cuomo is looking for relevance in this world that is post-mainstream media. I mean, Brian Selter, gone. I think he's lecturing at Harvard, which that ought to tell you everything you need to know about Harvard as well as Brian Selter. Don Lemon, bless his heart, that guy's just funny. And, it just goes to show, living in the postmodern world and being Don Lemon, only Don Lemon could have Don Lemon's talent and still be making Don Lemon money. Although I think now he's kind of it's more of an entrepreneurial venture. I'm sure if he were to set up some sort of a GoFundMe or something like that, it'd be kind of like the Rainbow Push Coalition. There are people that would give money to it just because they do not want Don Lemon on their back, So anyway, I digress on Don Lemon. I just think that guy's so bad. He's just a sad little guy. But anyway, he's searching for relevance out there. And that's what Chris Cuomo's doing. The gig is up, and so he's out there looking for relevance. And so he's kind of going into the line of fire, he's trying to make inroads into the very audience that he besmirched and insulted and shamed for so long. And, good luck with all that. We'll see how it works out. But anyway, here's that debate. Dave Smith, just a clip of it. And to me, this gets best of the web by far. The last thing I want to say on this, think for yourself. Improve your logic, your reasoning, and your understanding of these events always and always, so that you can make good decisions for you, your family, and stand firm when faced with adversity and shaming and everything else that goes with it. So here we go.
Everyone, and not everyone who gets paid. Joe Rogan is bigger than every single show at CNN combined and gets paid more than every single person at CNN combined. And he was 100% right about this thing through the entire time.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get this point out here.
Tell me what he was right about.
Okay, how about, what you just revealed last month on Pat's show about ivermectin?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan was saying that, and you were smearing him for saying that.
Yeah.
You literally said he's taking horse dewormer.
Yes.
He should be ashamed of himself. You pleaded with your audience to not take it.
Yes.
Then you come back around and you go, hey, Pat, you know what I just found out? Turns out this thing isn't for animals. Turns out humans are. But Chris, that's a 5-minute Google search and you would have known that.
First of all,
how do you not apologize to Joe Rogan?
Listen, do you know who disagrees with you? Do you know who disagrees with you? The people who make ivermectin disagree with you.
Hold on. What do they disagree with me about?
That the drug should not be taken as a standalone for COVID-19.
I never said it should.
That's what Rogan was saying.
No. He did not. Listen. See, this is the thing, Chris.
Yeah,
that is a lie. That is a blatant lie.
What did he say?
So you just pretended that I said it's a standalone for COVID. No. Here's what it always was. Here's what Joe Rogan said. My doctor prescribed it to me, along with several other medications, just like your doctor prescribed it to you. That's what he said. What I'm saying is that it's not horse dewormer, as you and everybody else at CNN mindlessly repeated.
Now,
what he said, no, let me finish.
Go ahead.
What he said, and what I'm saying is that it is a medicine that's been prescribed to people millions and I think billions of times
Right.
And it was totally demonized. Why?
Here's
You
why.
already said why. You said it 2 years too late, but you already said why.
No, here's
because
why.
no one owned it.
Here's why. What Pat has on his desk right now, you do not want to take, okay? It is the veterinary grade ivermectin. People were so desperate to get it because they were told it was a panacea. It was a cure-all.
By
They
who?
were,
Who told him that?
it was online.
Well,
they
you
were,
just
they
claimed,
were
you just
flooding it.
claimed Joe Rogan said it. You claimed I said it. Neither of us have said that.
But so
go
hold
ahead
on.
and
So
say it.
why
Say it.
was there a rush on ivermectin all of a sudden?
Can I tell you my honest opinion
Please.
about that? Okay, it's that the medical establishment and the corporate media so humiliated themselves that they lost trust with the entire American people. And then, yeah, there were some charlatans online who were saying, "Oh, go take this," and they trusted them.
Please, here's what happened. Okay?
If you think
Here's-
Joe Rogan said, "Take any
I
form of
am not
ivermectin you
blaming-
can get,
I'm
and you'll
not-
never get COVID,"
I'm not blaming Rogan. Here's what happened.
you
And
should be
again,
apologizing to
and
him.
again, listen. Listen. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Also, let me tell you why I think apologies in this context are a stunt, okay? We don't accept apologies. Nobody accepts apologies except as an admission that you weaponize. That's why Trump never apologizes. He's right. Because if you apologize, everybody just beats you over the head with it.
Trump's got a lot to apologize for, and so
look,
do you.
I'm just saying,
We both
as
should.
a concept, and you should too on this, and I'll tell you why.
What should I apologize
Here's
for?
what happened. Ivermectin, it wasn't because the media said don't take it, so everyone took it. The media would have never been talking about it unless people were taking it. Use your head. So here's what happens. They're prescribing it like crazy. They actually stop physicians from being able to prescribe it, which I think was a mistake. They then start giving out veterinary grade ivermectin, which, as the word would suggest, you shouldn't take, right?
Doctors were prescribing veterinary?
No, people were desperately trying to get it
Okay.
online. They couldn't find it. Okay. Ivermectin is the most studied potential treatment for COVID of all of them, which was a complete waste of money. And it was all done just to play on the politics of this. Merck, that made ivermectin, put out a statement during this saying, we do not advise it to be used for COVID-19. You can't find research that is seen as impressive by the research community that proves that ivermectin is effective in treating COVID-19. Rob can find you 100 studies, right? Listen, you're wrong on this.
No, I'm not.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because they're mad at me too, by the way. You think you guys are alone?
So, but
No.
why are you taking it
Here's
then?
why. My doctor, I didn't take it during COVID-19. And I didn't take hydroxychloroquine when I was sick with COVID-19, even though a lot of people thought they were being nice by sending it to me. Why? Because the research isn't there. That's why. With long COVID, okay? Not long vax, that's a different thing. If it's going to get recognized as such, I don't know. They won't say that yet. Long COVID, they're now saying exists. There is research. Is it dispositive? No. Do the people on the government levels and the research communities like that I said that I'm taking it? No. Do they think I'm setting myself up for lawsuits? Yes. But my doctor, I believe, is in the vanguard of people who are figuring out long COVID. And she has a lot of the same problems, by the way, with me and with the pandemic that you do. And she has found research, and she has had her own experience in using it in a combination with many other things where she believes it may be able to help. Now, I've been taking it. I don't feel any better. Does that mean it doesn't work? No. But
it's
that's
safe.
why I'm
it's
taking
safe and it's not
it. It is
horse-faced.
definitely
So what is
safe,
it-
but it's not
what-
horse-faced because it's not
Right.
horse-faced.
But, yeah, but
That
none of
is horse-faced.
By the way, no one ever at CNN during this time, when they were all saying it's horse dewormer, everyone was repeating. No one ever said, we're talking about the veterinarian ivermectin.
That's because-
we're not talking about the ivermectin that doctors prescribe.
Right.
No one ever said that. But listen, you told me I should apologize. So what do you think I should apologize for? And then I'll tell you what I think you should apologize for.
I know what you think I should apologize for. Obviously, there was so much talk that they don't want you to take ivermectin. Ivermectin is the way to go. Take it. Joe Rogan got better from ivermectin. And by the way, I don't like what people did to Joe Rogan about ivermectin. I don't like it.
You did it.
No. Okay,
Yeah, you did.
find the clips.
Dude, find the clips. You shamed Joe Rogan.
Find the
You
clips.
said he's taking horse dewormer. You and Don Lemon were chuckling at each other about it.
No.
I'll go find
First
the
of all,
clip.
you just saw the clips.
watched
I'm
it.
not chuckling. I'm listening to Don. But
No. The
here's
clip
point.
I'm talking about wasn't on there, and
Here-
it's absolutely
look, we
there.
were-
Here, do we have it? Hold on. Let's play the clip.
Go ahead.
Injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. What person? You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves.
That's
No
what
one
it
else
is.
Shame them. They're shaming themselves.
Well, they need to
So
be
you're
shamed.
taking a
They need to be
dewormer right
called
now.
out.
Chris.
Shame.
Chris, you can't apologize for that. You weren't being clear that it was
All
this,
right.
and you know that, dude. You're being so dishonest right now, man.
I'm not
You
being
were talking
dishonest.
about ivermectin, the drug. You were not talking about
I
this
was-
version of ivermectin. Come on,
I
man.
was responding to a situation where we were told that this is what people were searching out to take, and nobody knew what it was going to do to them. Look, I'm taking the drug right now. Obviously, I don't think it's all poison. I stopped calling it the horse drug when, and you cannot like it, CNN's chief medical officer, who is Sanjay Gupta, said to me, you shouldn't just call it a horse dewormer. There's a whole legitimate aspect of the drug. I wouldn't use it for COVID-19, but it's not just a veterinary grade. So I stopped calling it that.
So, okay.
And then it went away.
By the way, I don't know if you guys saw this. One of the best moments during the pandemic was when Dr. Gupta, who was just mentioned, went on Joe Rogan's podcast. For all the days of CNN, like demonizing Joe Rogan, they send their top doctor out there onto his show, and he goes, why is everyone on your network saying I'm taking horse dewormer? Ivermectin's not. And Dr. Gupta looked down at his lap and went, yeah, no, they shouldn't be saying that.
Well,
And
Sanjay
then,
was the one who
there
corrected
was
it.
a better, yeah.
Sanjay was
yeah.
the one who corrected it.
No, actually, after that, he went back and laughed as Don Lemon called it horse dewormer again. And then I guess later corrected you guys. But then there was a moment, and this was the best moment. And you got to remember the context of this. This was during the vaccine passports. Okay, the point when the people like me, and I'm sure a lot of you, were basically turned into second-class citizens, weren't allowed to go into restaurants, weren't allowed to go to sporting events, weren't allowed to go into a lot of different office buildings, things like that. And you, personally, along with everyone at CNN, cheered that on. You mused and joked around when you were interviewing Dr. Fauci about what rights the unvaccinated should have. So Dr. Gupta goes to Joe Rogan and says, it is in the middle of all this. He goes, so are you going to get the vaccine? And Joe goes, no, I just had COVID. Why would I get it? I got natural immunity. It's stronger than the vaccine. And Dr. Gupta went, yeah, that's a good point.
That is,
He had nothing for him. He had no response.
It's not, it's
Just like when you were, listen.
that's
just,
not even close
just-
to accurate.
Oh, yeah. Well, remember last time we played the clip and I was right? Remember
You
last
weren't
time?
right about that either. You weren't right about that
Chris,
either.
dude, you're in denial here, man. It's so clear that you
Look,
said that. Just admit it, man, and we
look,
can move on.
Again, here's the main difference. You may not say it this way, but this is what I think you're suggesting. You believe that you were demonized for not taking the vaccine, and that was wrong because it was right to not take the vaccine.
Okay. No. I don't, first of all, I don't believe I was demonized for
Right.
taking the vaccine. We just played video proof of it. Me, and it's not me, it's me and tens of millions of Americans were demonized to take the vaccine. Now, when you say it was wrong because you weren't supposed to take the vaccine, I think, and this is summing up a lot in a short period of time, I think there was a strong argument in the initial wave of COVID. If you were old and sick and had never had COVID, it might have been a good idea. to
What
take
if
the
you lived
vaccine.
with someone who was old and sick?
That probably wouldn't have done anything. Literally, it's not
You
going to
don't know
stop.
what you're talking about.
No,
you
no,
don't, you don't know what you're
no,
talking
I do
about.
know what
the
I'm talking.
science is
Chris-
obvious on this. The first,
So you got a lot of nerve not apologizing and then telling me I don't know what I'm
What do you
talking
want me to
about.
apologize for? For telling
For-
people to take the vaccine?
Okay, let's just stick with Joe Rogan. For mocking and smearing a person from the #1 show at CNN and then years later admitting he was completely right about what he said. How is that not attached to an apology? If I ever smeared someone aggressively and then 2 years later I had to admit that, I come out and just say what you said to Pat on his podcast was exactly what Joe Rogan was saying this whole time. You go, first of all, it's not horse dewormer, it's used on people, it's very safe, and my doctor prescribed it to me. That's why I'm taking it. Yes, if I ever did that to someone, I would apologize for that.
But it's not the right context. And right, it's first of all, it's both, right? It's veterinary grade and human grade. I was not making a market.
Which one do you think Rogan was taking?
I hope he was taking the human grade if he was prescribed it.
Which one do you think Joe Rogan, who just signed his second $200 million deal, was taking? Do you think he was stealing
What
it
is
out
it?
of the
Wait, is
cat bowl, or do you think he had a doctor?
I'm
Who
sure.
did- who
I'm sure
prescribed
that
it to him?
I'm sure they prescribed
So
it.
then
to
you
him.
guys were all wrong for demonizing him.
I think that it was wrong. Look, you guys want simple answers. You guys want simple answers to this, and it's not simple.
No, this is simple. This one is simple.
It's not simple.
The vaccine question might be more
Again,
difficult. This is really simple, man.
The maker of the drug. You want me to apologize when the maker of the drug says don't use it for COVID, when all of the research says it is not effective for COVID.
Well, okay, first
So
of all,
I should
that's
say
not
Joe Rogan was
true.
right to say take it.
You know what?
There
Chris,
was a
you're
rush on it.
on it. What are we even arguing about here?
Long
You're
COVID is different. Long COVID is different.
Okay, so first of all, just to be clear, and this is essentially the truth, right? There were some studies that seem to indicate that if you take ivermectin early in a COVID infection, there seem to be some positive benefits. Then there were other studies that basically said, no, we're not seeing that. Now, I've heard a lot of experts, and this goes beyond my pay grade, argue that those other studies weren't properly done. Whatever it is, the reason why doctors were prescribing it to people like Joe Rogan and millions of other Americans was they were like, look, it's a mixed bag with the study. Some of them seem to indicate it might help. Some indicate it doesn't, but we know the drug. It's a people drug and it's safe. So why not take this in your regimen along with a bunch of other things? That's the point. And
I
you
think
guys demonized him for
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
okay.
That's
but-
why they were prescribing it. I don't think they were prescribing it to be reckless.
No, that's right.
I think that's why they're prescribing it. But here's the problem with what you guys want, okay? It is not some research says take it, some research says don't. Okay? It's just not that way, all right? And it's not even close. I'm telling you, I have not spoken with anyone in preparation for coming here tonight who said you can say ivermectin works with COVID. That is my doctor does believe it can be effective. She is cool. Her name is Dr. Robin Rose, and if you have long COVID, or someone you know has long COVID, look up Terrain Health, Robin Rose. She's doing her best. But the point remains the same. The point remains the same.
What he said? I didn't that's right.
Say it again. I didn't hear it.
Is she a veterinarian?
Oh, that's funny.
If you're watching this, the way you get to vote for today's debate so far, because we got a bunch of other issues we got to talk about right now with Trump.
All right, so that's the clip I wanted to show you guys. And, you know, it's mind-boggling. And you hear, there's so much there. There's so much there. And it's almost like watching in real time someone kind of go through a mental detox. Chris Cuomo, he has been so, I mean, look, his dad, Mario Cuomo, was the governor of New York before his brother was the governor of New York. So this guy has probably not had many people disagree with him his entire life. And then he becomes a member of the elite media, the most trusted name in news to the left, where anyone that's, you know, kind of lives in the middle of the country like I do, the flyover country, if you're not on one of the coasts, you're kind of an idiot and kind of a rube. And you don't know anything. You're pretty stupid. And if you disagree, it's because you're dumb. And if you happen to be smart and accomplished, and you disagree, well, you're still dumb because I'm right. And you watch in real time as Dave Smith is literally, they're playing him clips in real time. Dave Smith is reminding him, you are now taking ivermectin. And you're sitting here saying it shouldn't be prescribed for COVID, but it's a different, we were talking about the veterinary grade, but you never said that. And I would even, and look, here's a little bit of assumption that no one is trying to practice malice. If he had actually said, look, here's the deal, folks. Here's the responsibility that we have whenever we're in the mainstream media and we're talking to millions and millions of people. Not everyone has the resources that Joe Rogan has. To your point, Dave Smith, not everyone has a $200 million contract and the ability to have the best experts, the best doctors at their fingertips. Not everybody has that. So we try to err to the side of caution to say, look, we don't want American people going out and confusing veterinary grade for human grade And so therefore we just basically say, just don't do it. Just stay away from this stuff. Now, I don't agree with that tactic. It's not for the media to protect us from ourselves. It's for the media to instead, the real reporting would be, hey folks, here's the deal. There's two different types of ivermectin. One that they give horses for deworming. One that's been very, very effective on humans for different causes. There is some research that says this could help. However, we frankly don't recommend you take either for whatever reason. Whatever the reason is, guys like Dave Smith and a lot of other people say the reason why is because there's no money being made in ivermectin. And so Big Pharma, who advertises and is the sugar daddy of CNN and all the other major networks, was saying, hey, don't you dare promote this therapeutic in spite of our vaccines. Don't forget who signs the biggest checks that fund your enterprise. Because you got to remember something about the news. All of it. I don't care if it's conservative or liberal. I don't care what it is. All the news is this. All the news is nothing but to take up space and to entertain you and to keep your eyeballs in between commercials. That's all it is. Everything you're watching is one big, giant commercial with a little bit of amygdala tickling to scare you to death, a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of confusion, a little bit of numbing out. It's all just to keep you sitting there between commercials. That's it. It's to keep you ready for the next commercial or ad. That's all it's for. It's all entertainment. It's all for money. It's not meant, the news is not meant to serve. It once was kind of the speak truth to power, and it did have kind of more of a functioning role in society, although you go all the way back to the 20s and the muckrakers and yellow journalism, and if it bleeds, it leads. All this, I mean, William Randolph Hearst and all the others, they've been doing this since the dawn of time, which brings me back to my real reason for bringing this to you, which is this, is that be a thinker. Be a thinker. Think for yourself. Know truth and be willing to stand up for it. Be willing to stand up to those who, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. If something just doesn't add up, then trust your instincts. Verify it, but verify it with people that don't have an ideological bent, that don't have a financial incentive, that you just know that are actually looking out for you. I thought this was just a fantastic clip for the best of the web. And look, again, I'm not here. This is not my style to say, hell yeah, way to go, Dave, way to go, PBD, and screw you, Chris Cuomo. That's not what I'm trying to do. But as a matter of fact, I think listening to Chris Cuomo in this clip it's just kind of, it's pathetic and it's scary. Yes, Chris Cuomo, if you know anything about it, if you watch him for any time, he's kind of a cocky and arrogant dude. But again, I mean, it's almost like, why wouldn't he be? The dude grew up very privileged in New York with his dad, the governor. I mean, he's gone to the best schools. He ends up being a big timer at CNN. I mean, come on. It's kind of understandable the reason why he is the way he is. But at least he's making an effort to get out there and take some bullets. But man, to watch him sit there and just utter denial. It's kind of crazy. So I thought that was the best of the web. Hey, folks, never stop improving, always and always. Tune in next week to my conversation with Tim Organ, a fantastic health and wellness entrepreneur and CEO. He is the CEO of Mindshare Collaborative. It is a great organization that brings together a lot of people from the health and wellness space, both MDs and other folks alike. It's a great conversation about being healthy, the importance of it. If you haven't checked out my current conversation that's running right now with Claire Unkefer, you can actually see me go through a little mini therapy session online. I'm very transparent. I just got out there and it was actually pretty cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty beneficial. So check that out as well as all the other episodes. And when you do, if you're watching this on YouTube, please click like or subscribe. I would appreciate it. And if you listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, please leave a rating and let me know what you like. And that's it. I appreciate you listening. I'm Jason, and I am out. Well, that does it for this episode of The Jason Wright Show. Thank you so much for listening. This has been a Texas Titan Media production. Fourth Wall did the music. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Please consider going out to jasonwrightnow.com and signing up for the Vitruvian letter. Also, please go out to iTunes. It takes like 30 seconds to just leave us a 5-star rating. It does wonders for the podcast. I would be so grateful. And with that, until we meet again, Go crush it and endeavor to improve always in all ways. I'm out.